Good evening. I cannot express how happy I was to hear that I won the individual British Columbia Business Achievement Award. First of all, I would like to share with you my childhood memories while I lived in a Gitsan village called Kitwanga. It was situated on the Skeena River in northwest British Columbia. My late father's name was Wallace Morgan, and his hereditary chief name was Achtehik Gibu. Gibu means wolf, so meaning that he belonged to the wolf clan. My mother was the late Martha Morgan, a chieftainess whose name was Metas and belonged to the fireweed clan. There were 14 brothers and sisters in my family. I lived in Kitwanga until I was 7 years old, after which time I entered the Hazelton Hospital and stayed for 3 years because I had tuberculosis. Upon leaving the hospital in June 1945, I soon learned that I would have to go to the Alberni Indian Residential School, where I spent the next 10 years. During those 10 years, I learned how to knit and crochet and sell the completed items to others in the school. But my earliest awareness of selling and making money began when I was 6 years old. My brother Willis read in the Winnipeg Daily Free Press about a powdered drink called Very Best, and he immediately ordered them to sell in the village. The village members loved it so much that Willis soon hired me to help him sell Very Best. I recall waiting for my relatives to put the money in my hand. When I arrived home, Willis put his hand out and I gave him all the money. I will never forget that experience. Much later, when I went to the University of British Columbia, an opportunity came that would allow me to make money. The Native Youth Program had several young First Nations learning how to work in the Museum of Anthropology. And one day, I overheard them talking about how to make money for a field trip. They needed $1,600. I stopped in my tracks and offered them a way to raise money. At least I thought it might be a good idea. We would make bannock and sell it outside the museum. So I made the dough and brought it to the museum, and we all got busy cutting and frying. We sold out, and so we did the same the next 4 days. We made $1,300. The late Dr. Ames told me that I should set up a table outside the museum and sell bannock. People like bannock, he said. I hired 2 ladies to fry and sell bannock. After almost 2 months, I had $25,000 profit in the bank. Soon there was catering, and then I moved into an existing restaurant that resembled an interior of a longhouse that was designed by the late Arthur Erickson. I called it Lilgat Feast House. I forgot to mention that I also had a food cart outside the museum. So I actually employed quite a few people because we were catering and then now the restaurant and the food cart. Tonight, I would like to thank the UBC Museum of Anthropology and staff for their great generosity and help, and my family who helped me with startup money and continue to help me when I needed help at the restaurant with catering and the food stand. Year after year, My daughter Annie co-authored our cookbook, Where People Feast, making use of her talent in computer science. And of course, the Arsenal Pulp Press, they're in Vancouver. They helped us a lot. I used to watch Annie phoning them and emailing back and forth, and pretty soon we had a cookbook. And I just want to say that it's in its second print, and in 2008, early 2008, there was a competition of cookbooks in Canada, and we won out of 6,000. Then a company called Gourmand gathered the winners. Actually, this was happening around the world, and Canada was only one of the ones that were competing. And Gourmand company gathered the winners all around the world, and we were in the top 10. Well, last but not least, I want to thank my husband, Mayor Ken McRae. You won't believe it, but he also knows how to fry bannock. And I would like to thank the achievement, the Business Achievement Award, for recognizing my career that I chose so late in life.